hearts are shouting, 14 lights are shining. Send your love to Ahmed and Zahra. Souls and hearts are shouting, 14 lights are shining. Send your love to Ahmed and Zahra. Their love will protect my sight. They light up the darkest night.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا وقائدنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد بن عبد الله ياسين وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. With the name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful and Compassionate, we begin our third episode of 5 episodes about the biography and fascinating life of our 8th Imam, Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha, peace be upon him, and all the purified family of our Prophet Muhammad. In the first 2 episodes, we talked about the birth of our Imam and what fascinating features he had and moral and generous fragments of his life. And when we look at this amazing life of our Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha, we notice that there are many evidences about his sinlessness and rightfulness to his leadership. And we answered a lot of all the false accusations, and we passed and answered some of these accusations regarding some points in Al-Imam al-Ridha's life and Al-Imam al-Ridha's appointment to be the heir of Al-Ma'mun al-Abbasi, the Abbasi ruler of his time. And just to personify that Al-Imam al-Ridha was aware that Al-Ma'mun needed him, as he was well aware that this appointment is not going to reach any completion. For example, the great historian Al-Madaini reported that when Al-Imam al-Ridha was appointed heir, and he had this great council, and he wore these fancy clothes, expensive clothes, and all the poets and lecturers praised him. Amongst all these praises and all these features, after the appointment of Al-Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha in this council, and you can just imagine such atmosphere, all the flags of the nation, the Islamic nation is all around Al-Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha and his council, and all this wealth. Al-Imam al-Ridha looked to some of his followers. The historian Al-Madaini says, these followers who were present in the council of Al-Imam al-Ridha, peace be upon him, Al-Imam al-Ridha pointed out to them so they can get near to him. When they got close, he said to them, don't let your heart get busy with anything you see. Don't get your heart busy. Don't let your heart get busy with anything you see here. Don't praise it, for it won't reach any completion. Even though with all this knowledge that Al-Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha had regarding his situation, Al-Imam al-Ridha stayed in his rank, treated by all the Abbasi governors with respect, and this respect reflected vigorously on his sons and descendants, his grandsons, especially Al-Imam al-Hadi and Al-Imam al-Hasan al-Askari, his grandsons. They were all named and they were all known as the sons of Al-Imam Ridha. When anybody pointed out to them, called them They called them the sons of al-Imam al-Ridha, Abna al-Imam al-Ridha, peace be upon him. On the other hand, the way that the Abbasis called upon al-Imam al-Ridha, the atmosphere that was created to welcome al-Imam al-Ridha from al-Madinah al-Munawwara to Maru, al-Imam al-Ridha had such a state in the capital of the Abbasi government at that time, Maru, plus they got him a home, they built him a home near to the Abbasis' homes in the same area. And this shows that the Abbasis were playing to control every role that and every movement that al-Imam Ali bin Musa al-Ridha was going to make. And this was such a great role that the Abbasis played to control the movements of al-Imam al-Ridha. And this became a tradition that the Abbasi rulers exercised upon the Imam, upon all of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, peace be upon them. For this was applied in the same way with al-Imam al-Jawad, al-Imam Ridha's son, and al-Imam al-Hadi, peace be upon them. Returning to al-Imam al-Ridha, we see that maybe what got the Abbasis sensitive, or what aroused their sensitivity towards al-Imam al-Ridha in negative way, of course, that al-Imam al-Ridha was appointed crown prince and heir to al-Ma'mun, which was who was the Abbasi ruler at that time. This position aroused the Abbasis' fear. This fear that the Abbasis had was their knowledge that the purified family of our Prophet, peace be upon him, are born leaders and are appointed. They knew that the appointment was overdue because they were appointed before their birth by God, and that's why they were eager to obtain in any way possible in this political adversary, in this political rivalness. And al-Imam al-Ridha carried the great responsibility of the imamate after the martyration of his father al-Imam Musa al-Kadhim, peace be upon him. Al-Imam Musa al-Kadhim, peace be upon him, who was imprisoned in the cruel jails of Harun al-Rashid, the father of al-Ma'mun, who appointed al-Imam Ridha as his heir and as a crown prince. The Abbasi ruler of his time, of al-Imam al-Kadhim's time, Harun al-Rashid, imprisoned al-Imam al-Kadhim, peace be upon him, in his cruel jails. And that time he was one, and we should realize that that age, this time was one of the hardest and most difficult times that passed on our Imams, Ahlul Bayt, and the purified family of our Prophet and their followers, until no one dared to talk about their grief and sorrows and despairs. For example, I'll give an example. When the great poet, a great poet named Mansur al-Numayri, he was a great poet at the time of al-Imam al-Kadhim and at the time of Harun al-Rashid. When Mansur al-Numayri wrote a poem describing the cruel treatment of the Abbasis on Ahlul Bayt, until this poem got so famous that it reached the hearing of Harun al-Rashid. So when Harun al-Rashid heard this poem, and it was so powerful and described the true cruelness that was exercised on our Prophet's family, Ahl al-Bayt, in the time of Musa al-Kadhim by the Abbasi ruler Harun al-Rashid. Harun al-Rashid ordered one of his goons to travel to the city of Al-Raqqa in Syria, where Mansur al-Numayri, this poet, was living. This goon went to Al-Raqqa and entered Al-Raqqa. Harun al-Rashid told him that when you see Mansur al-Numayri, just imagine what punishment did Harun al-Rashid judge or gave to Mansur al-Numayri, just for him to describe what cruelness was exercised upon Ahl al-Bayt, peace be upon them. The goon entered Al-Raqqa. Harun al-Rashid told him, when you see Mansur al-Numayri, you shall, you should, or you will take his tongue out of the back of his head, of his body. What viciousness are we talking about? What bloodthirsty souls and minds we're talking about, my brothers and sisters. But God's will was above all plotness. When this goon traveled to Al-Raqqa, where the poet lived, and when this goon arrived, he saw a great funeral and a great ceremony that was held. So he said, to whom is this funeral? To whom is this ceremony? They told him that today Mansur al-Numayri got deceased and died. So this goon left Al-Raqqa and came back to Harun al-Rashid in Baghdad and told him what happened. So he told him angerously and replied to him, you should have burned his body and while he was dead and spreaded his ashes. So even though all this was exercised on Ahl al-Bayt, Al-Imam al-Ridha was well aware that he was under the observation of the Abbasi's eyes, as is shown from the report passed on from Muhammad ibn Sinan, who entered the home of Al-Imam al-Ridha, telling him, my lord, you have prevailed your contempt to the Abbasis in the open, and I see you now sitting on the same seat of death that your father, peace be upon him, once sat on. For Harun's sword is still dripping with Al-Imam al-Kadhim's blood, peace be upon him. Al-Imam al-Ridha replied, he told him, what made me dare to do so is the report I know and memorize from my grandfather, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he said, if Abu Jahl touches a hair on my head and reaches me to kill me, then know that I am not a prophet and don't believe in me. And Abu Jahl was obviously the great adversary and the great opponent and great enemy of Rasulullah, of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And I tell you this, that if Harun al-Rashid touches a hair on my body or on my head and kills me, know that I am not an imam. After the death, and our Imam Ali ibn Musa Ridha is never wrong, and we proved the sinlessness of his life. With the death of Harun al-Rashid and the arrival of the great conflict between the two brothers, the two sons of Harun al-Rashid, Al-Amin and Al-Ma'mun, a big crack was made in the heart of the Abbasi government, of the Abbasi rulement. And this created a perfect chance for Al-Imam al-Ridha to make his move and chance to widen his activities of preachment. And this was translated, this chance was translated in many of the field trips that al-Ridha, al-Imam al-Ridha, peace be upon him, made to meet the crowds. Not only in al-Madinah al-Munawwara, but he sent to set these field trips and meetings in faraway cities such as al-Basra and al-Kufa. And these trips had amazing results and effects, which led to assure the relationship between al-Imam al-Ridha and the people of the Islamic nation. This relationship, this gathering, led to all who opposed and all who denied al-Ma'mun's rulement gather around al-Imam Ali ibn Musa Ridha, peace be upon him. Al-Ma'mun didn't find a way out of what he was involved in, and he wanted for the Abbasis to reorganize. And he had one choice and one chance to do so, and that choice was to appoint al-Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha heir to his throne. And what we should realize, my brothers and sisters, that this appointment was a real nightmare to the Abbasis governors and workers, who will start begging, nearly begging al-Ma'mun, the Abbasi ruler, to reconsider his decision. On the second hand, the approvement or the appointment of al-Imam al-Ridha added a holy cover to the Abbasi rulement. Just imagine when the name of Ali ibn Musa Ridha is shouted out in the prayers and is called out in all Jum'ah prayers, so that all the Muslims may come and pray behind al-Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha. Coins were carved by the Abbasis coins were carved with the name of Ali al-Ridha on it. And even the logo of the Abbasis, which was the logo on their flags, the Abbasis had a logo on their flags, which was the lions. They took this logo out and changed it to the color of the flags of Ahl al-Bayt, peace be upon them, which was green, the color green. In the third hand, the step towards the appointment of al-Imam al-Ridha led to ending all the probabilities of revolutions against or everything that opposed Harun al-Rashid, al-Ma'mun, the son of Harun al-Rashid. The orders of al-Ma'mun came to call upon the presence of al-Imam al-Ridha from al-Madinah al-Munawwara to Maru. And what was strange and noticed that Harun al-Rashid called upon al-Imam al-Ridha and led him and ordered his convoy to walk through the cities that were known for the great loyalty to al-Imam or to Ahl al-Bayt, peace be upon them, the purified family of our Prophet Muhammad. And these cities, but he ordered the convoy to go through these cities, and these cities were famous for their hate to the Prophet's family, such as the cities of Al-Basra, Ahwaz, and the city of Yazd, all the way until he reached the city of Naysabur. In the city of Naysabur, what al-Ma'mun knew what happened when al-Ma'mun knew what happened and what action was taken by the people of the city of Naysabur, when they welcomed al-Imam al-Ridha, Ali bin Musa al-Ridha, peace be upon him, astonished him and surprised him. When al-Imam al-Ridha reached the city of Naysabur, in the city more than 20,000 religious scientists and students came out to welcome al-Imam al-Ridha, peace be upon him. And when al-Imam al-Ridha reached Maru, which is now called Mazar al-Sharif in Afghanistan, recently, al-Ma'mun then announced that he was ready to abdicate himself from his throne to al-Imam al-Ridha, peace be upon him. And I ask, what is the goal of this announcement? That he was willing to abdicate himself, to take himself out off his throne, to give it away to al-Imam al-Ridha, peace be upon him, at that time. Is it to show the al-Imam al-Ridha that he is a true follower of Ahl al-Bayt and a true follower for al-Imam al-Ridha? Or did he want to see al-Imam al-Ridha's reaction towards such decisions? Or to preface the original idea of appointing al-Imam al-Ridha heir to his rulement, because he knew that al-Imam al-Ridha wouldn't accept to be ruler with all the corruption that was spreaded all through the government's establishments and states? This and many questions is what we're going to answer in our next episode. Until we meet again, I leave you with the care of God and the blessings of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his purified family. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa afdalu salati ala khayr al-khalqi ajma'in, Muhammadin wa ali baytihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.